back. Let's continue our panel discussion with Lebogang Ramodike, the Executive Director of Big Brands Media Foundation. Also, part of the conversation is Mothusi Moswang from KATLO Development Centre and Sibongile Nkosi from Vhathu Vhothe Abuse Centre. Let me start with you, Mothusi, at this hour. Just before the break, I said when we come back, I want to hear a little bit about the challenges that you're facing on the ground. What are the main challenges? You as an NGO that's supporting victims and survivors of gender-based violence in your community, what are the challenges currently?
Okay. The main challenges that we experience is with the victims of sexual abuse. Basically, some of them, after the perpetrators would get bail, maybe from the case, they will be threatening them with the cases, that they must just withdraw the cases and all that. And you find that all these victims, they are now withdrawing the cases.
So, sorry, just before, the rapists are getting bail?
Yes.
But we heard from the National Emergency Plan by government that there should be no bail for rapists. So when they do get bail, they threaten
yes.
the people, the women that they've raped?
Yes.
Forcing them to remove the case?
Yes.
And that happens, so they withdraw the cases?
They withdraw. Some of them, they live in fear. Some of them, they withdraw the cases. They don't even report to us. You just see like they have withdrawn the cases and all those kind of things. So they live mostly in fear. It's a problem if they're getting like those bails. And then some of them, you find that they come, the victims, they tell you, I didn't even know about the bail. I just heard some other people, or I just met the person that they is running around all the streets is out, and I didn't know, even the police didn't tell me. So it's kind of a challenge. It poses a challenge on our victims. And another challenge that we're facing is when resources, we're working with limited resources as NGOs. It's another challenge that most of the NGOs, I think, we are facing in this. In Northwest, we're working in Letlhabile and Jericho and all those other rural areas. Now, if a victim has to come and go and do a protection order, they must take a taxi or a bus to Breds and do the protection order. Sometimes they don't even have fares to do such. So even the distances and the money and all that, the economy, is a challenge for us.
Okay, Sibongile, your side? With KATLO?
Our challenge.
Vhathu Vhothe, sorry?
Yes. We are rendering our services to the communities that are surrounding plots, farms, and informal settlement. And our serious challenge is the transporting of our victims to shelters. We don't have transport. So we rely on SAPS vehicles to assist us or other NGOs. And the other serious challenge is the shelters. Gauteng shelters are full. Our social workers are struggling to get our victims to the shelters. And the other things what we have discovered is that, yes, we get a shelter, but we will just put there, they will be just put there. Okay, they will be receiving counseling and others, trauma and all those trauma counseling and all those things. But what do we do about developing them further, like skills development, empowering them as well? So all the programs that we've put in place, we cannot because of limited resources, as she does say, because we've got a program where we wanted to empower them to start suing some garments, garments, curtains and all those things, just to empower them instead of sitting on the sun for the whole day. So those are the critical part. The most serious one is to transporting them from their homes or from police stations to the shelters.
And the shelters are full.
And the shelters as well.
At the moment are full. I mean, those are the challenges. And your NGOs, Mothusi and Sibongile, operate largely in rural South Africa, if I may say so, as you've just said. I mean, we tend to get a picture from urban areas. So Lebogang, you involved these two NGOs, among others, last weekend in Tshwane at this workshop where people are talking and having a dialogue about GBV. What made you do that? You are a young social entrepreneur. You are about enabling others to make money and yourself doing so. You could business and stuff. Why did you think it was important for you to bring the grassroots activists together in this fight against GBV?
Having grown up in a village in Limpopo, I realized that the grassroots, the two women that are sitting with me here, have been in the sector for about 10, 15 years. Our Sibongile took her 7 years to get funding. But the whole time she's pushed on family donations, on friendship donations. She's never given up. The same as my other counterpart on the other end. They are selfless in their acts. As things stand themselves, they don't even draw salaries from their NGOs. The money that they get, they give to the unemployed social workers that they've created employment for. So I thought, because I was turning 35, because I'm about to exit the youth bracket. How to...
you can't claim to be youth after 35, eh?
Yes, I'll be a denialist. You know, they call you a denialist if you are still saying, as young people, you are a denialist. So I thought, how do we do something exciting? That I then got my friends of influence, I call them. So I phoned Mothusi, I phoned Boiti Tulo, I phoned Amanda Black, Vhathu Vhothe, and I got them to get into the room to say, guys, how do we use our influence to profile the work that ordinary voices on the ground are making? And then we then said, but let's also add more knowledge. You know, the program also had an element where we had the religious voice. We also had another segment where we brought in organizations, the UN Women, we brought in Advocate Matumise to give a perspective on policy so that the NGOs understand, because everyone thinks that anything that's written in a document at the grassroots, our people process it. They don't. So that session was to impart knowledge and also celebrate our unsung heroes.
So you also had involvement with the community social workers, because Sibongile was talking about the importance of social workers, and you are funding them currently in your area under your NGO from your pocket, or the money that comes through from donations?
From social development.
From social development.
Yes,
but for 7 years, you did it on your own.
No.
Wow. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Mothusi, yourself, when it comes to those kind of resources?
With us, we were, I don't know, maybe we were lucky or something. We started KATLO in 2017. Then in 2018, at least Lotto just helped us a bit.
Or the funding from the National Lottery Commission.
Yes, it helped us a bit.
Okay.
Then last year, we also were funded by Nkosi, which helped us with capacity building. It built us as an NPO so that we can operate way much better and efficiently. So also we were also helped with, because of when we were doing this GBV, we could see like most of the clients that we were having, they were going back to the perpetrators because of economic dependence. Yeah. So what we needed to do is that how do we help these people? So we applied for the EPWP project. The EPWP project where we were able to create 100 work opportunities. So we were able to take all those people and put them on those work opportunities.
So that economic independence is very important for many of the women. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes before I let you go. I was going to start with you, Sibongile. What should we do differently? If you were sitting in that chair in 5 years' time from now and you're looking back, where should we be? What should the things that we should focus on between now and then to really make a dent in the fight against GBV?
I think we need to work on empowerment, empowering these women. Economically, yes, social workers will do their part, but for now, it's we need to empower them economically. We need to get more stakeholders to come in.
Both private sector and
private sector and government. We need all of this. It's not going to help us to go to them and do door to door. It's not going to assist us to do all awareness and gather them into a hall and all those things without a way forward. So our way forward now is that then what we must do now, let's get people who can invest, and we get like machines, and then we start their manufacturers. Then they manufacture, or there are a lot of things that we can do. as I've just spoken now, Department of Health, in their hospital, they've got these curtains. We can get them, and then we start teaching them how to sew. In our programs, we are manufacturing this. We are doing this. We are sewing these are done at our offices. So I need more of this to be done by the victims itself, because that they will stop to go back to the...
Economic empowerment for you should be a focus for the women in those rural areas and elsewhere in the country. Mothusi, what else would you think we should be focusing on?
Yeah, definitely partnership with private companies together with the government. And also, like, what we need also, sometimes it's like the ideas from these people on how to make this income-generating project that can make our NPOs sustainable. That's basically what we need.
Yeah, so NPOs to be sustainable,
yes,
to continue supporting,
yes,
the women as they face all those challenges,
yes,
that they do face. Lebogang?
Yes, so I want to, in 4 years' time, President, to measure me on the following. We want to raise economic opportunities for survivors of gender-based violence with less than matric, because that's the big problem there. No one is getting them into any economic activity. So already we're having a discussion with the Civilian Secretariat for Police, with the Department of Science and Technology and Innovation, on how can we get into that pocket and increase opportunities. World is considering the relationship because they see value. Because I'm saying to them, it's no longer about the best in the classroom, but society. The only way we're going to break gender-based violence is to create economic opportunities for less than matric. At most of our shelters, the people that are there have less than matric because they were homemakers. They chose to look after their family. Number two, as a family, we're going to build a shelter home in Soshanguve. It's a we've already acquired the land. Now we just have to raise money for material to build it. At that shelter, there will be assistance in terms of psychosocial support. There will also be a facility to help in terms of registering a business, like the economic part of it. So, you know, and lastly, we want to get women into manufacturing of sanitary pads.
The common thread I'm hearing is let's get the women, especially those in rural areas and those who don't have any matric, yes, that band of women economically active. Let's empower them and let's provide the necessary resources like shelters. Yes. And good luck with that family project, Lebogang. And Sibongile and Mothusi, I salute you. It's hard work. I can't even imagine how you do it and how you've been doing it for so long. Continue doing this beautiful work in supporting the victims of gender-based violence. It is a shame. It is a national disgrace that as we stand here and we talk here today, we still, as men, don't realize we need to change our behavior. And we salute your efforts and all the best. And thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you.
Okay, when we continue on today, as you know, we're marking also the beginning of a 5-day mourning period for all the people we've lost due to COVID-19. We'll bring you more shortly. Stay with us.